Centuries before machinery, fertilizers, and modern gardening tools existed, ancient Roman gardeners quietly mastered methods that allowed them to harvest more food from a courtyard than most people can produce from an entire backyard today. Their success wasn't luck, and it wasn't magic. It was the result of observing nature so closely that the soil itself became their teacher. These gardeners discovered how to plant once and harvest for decades, how to create self-watering systems without pumps, and how to design gardens that nearly ran themselves. And the surprising part? Every one of those techniques is simple enough for you to use right now. This video reveals 8 powerful Roman gardening strategies that outperform many modern methods, not because they are exotic or complicated, but because they work with nature's rhythm instead of fighting against it. What you're about to learn will change the way you see your own garden, whether it's a large backyard, a balcony, or a small patio. If you've ever wished gardening required less effort and gave more abundance, the Romans already solved that problem 2,000 years ago. Let's begin with one of their most extraordinary discoveries, a plant that rewards patience with decades of harvest. The Romans considered asparagus a lifelong companion, not a yearly crop. When they planted it, they planted for the future. They understood that asparagus, if given the right conditions, could live for 20 years or more. They created raised beds filled with composted manure and sand to keep the soil rich yet well-drained. Then they planted the crowns deeply, sometimes 8 inches or more, and left them alone to build strength underground. For the first 2 years, they hardly touched the plants. Those early seasons were dedicated to root building, not harvesting. This long-term thinking paid off. When the roots matured, tender shoots returned every spring without fail. No replanting, no extra effort, just reliable abundance year after year. Roman writer Pliny the Elder even described asparagus bunches so large that a single hand could barely hold them. If you recreate this method in your own backyard, you'll experience the same rewards. Build a raised bed, mix compost with coarse sand, plant the crowns deeply, and resist the urge to harvest too soon. By year 3, you'll enjoy a spring treat that returns faithfully for decades. This is not just efficient gardening, it's a reminder that some of the best things in life grow slowly but last long. Next comes a technique that transformed the Roman soil without fertilizers, an elegant but powerful discovery hidden beneath the surface. Long before the word nitrogen existed, Roman gardeners realized that certain plants strengthened the soil itself. They noticed that when legumes, beans, peas, lentils, grew near grains or fruiting crops, everything flourished. The soil stayed rich, the plants grew stronger, and yields increased. They didn't know the science, but they understood the results. They planted beans between rows of wheat, peas near grapevines, and vetch around olive trees. These natural pairings fed the soil while shading it from the heat. Today, we call this nitrogen fixation, a process where legumes pull nitrogen from the air and store it in the soil, creating a natural fertilizer system. Applying this ancient wisdom is simple. Grow peas near your tomatoes. Plant beans next to corn. Add clover or alfalfa between rows of lettuce or around fruit trees. You'll quickly notice richer soil, greener leaves, and reduced need for fertilizers. It's nature taking care of nature, a philosophy the Romans mastered long before science explained it. But the Romans didn't stop at enriching soil, they also perfected the art of conserving water. Their next technique is a powerful answer to drought, dry climates, and anyone who wants to water less. Walk through the ruins of ancient Roman courtyards and you'll notice stones surrounding herbs, fruit trees, and vegetables. These stones weren't decoration, they were a brilliant form of natural mulch. Romans discovered that covering soil with rocks dramatically reduced evaporation by shielding the earth from direct sun and wind. During the day, stones absorbed heat. At night, they released it slowly, protecting roots from sudden temperature drops. Modern studies confirm what the Romans observed. Stone mulch can cut water usage by up to 50%. It also prevents soil erosion, suppresses weeds, and creates microhabitats for beneficial insects and lizards that control pests. You can replicate this effortlessly. Spread river rocks, gravel, or broken terracotta pieces around your plants. Leave a small space at the stem for air circulation. You'll notice the soil stays moist longer, even in heat waves. Your plants will grow stronger with less effort from you. For seniors or anyone wanting a low-maintenance garden, this technique is a lifesaver, quiet, elegant, and remarkably effective. Space limitations never discouraged Roman gardeners. Instead, they found ways to turn walls into fruit factories through an artful method that still astonishes modern horticulturists. Espalier, the technique of training fruit trees flat against a wall, allowed the Romans to grow entire orchards in just a few feet of space. They shaped branches horizontally, encouraging the trees to pour their energy into fruit production instead of height. The result? Up to 5 times more fruit per square foot. Sunlight reached every branch, air circulated freely, and fruit ripened evenly. You can recreate this on a fence, wall, or even a balcony. Plant a young apple, pear, fig, or plum tree about a foot from a wall. Use wires or wooden slats to guide branches horizontally. Prune upward shoots, keep lateral ones, and your tree will transform into a living work of art, productive, elegant, and easy to maintain without ladders or large tools. This is gardening as sculpture, where beauty and function merge. As much as Romans valued fruit, they were equally dedicated to growing fresh vegetables year-round, even in winter. Their solution was ingenious: gardens warmed from below by nature itself. Hotbeds were one of Rome's greatest inventions for cold seasons. Gardeners dug a pit, filled half of it with fresh manure and straw, then topped it with rich soil. As the manure decomposed, it released a warm, steady heat that kept the soil above it cozy through winter. Records show that Emperor Tiberius demanded cucumbers year-round, and hotbeds made that possible. Built near heat-retaining stone walls, these mini greenhouses kept vegetables growing even on cold nights. You can achieve this by collecting rainwater in a raised barrel and letting gravity feed your garden through a hose or drip line. It's effortless, sustainable, and remarkably effective. Taken together, these 8 ancient techniques reveal far more than gardening tricks. They reflect a philosophy, one built on patience, balance, and partnership with nature. The Romans didn't rush growth, they nurtured systems that endured. They planted with the future in mind, crafting gardens that lived long after their hands were gone. If you begin even one of these methods, your garden will start to change. And as it changes, so will your connection to the earth, steadier, wiser, and more peaceful. The Romans left us a blueprint for abundance. All that remains is to put it into practice.